but did you die actually became my mantra between 2009 and 2014 because that's literally the same energy that we're going through this year. I've had so many people say to me, what the fuck was 2025? And I am so familiar with this energy that I already knew coming into this year what it was going to look like for me personally. So I'll just share a little bit of what that looked like because it is what I call the awakening period for a lot of people. And because I had already been through it and I went through really, really big, I'm not going to judge them, but big awakenings. And so for me, 2025 was like, oh, okay, I got this because I'm already familiar with it and I know what to do. For a lot of people, as I mentioned, this was an awakening year. It's kind of like a lot came to the surface for you to start looking at it. Something that I shared with a lot of people coming into my world was you heard me say FAFO, fuck around and find out, because this really was a year of experimentation so that you can start to connect to higher levels of consciousness. And what fuck around and find out looks like, it's different for everybody. For me personally, it looked like you're going to be in a bit of a timeout this year. You're going to have to lean back and get creative with how you're going to co-create, how you're going to manifest, because it's going to look different. Like I said, it's different for everybody. For me personally, it was like, take a chill pill, learn patience, learn mastery, go deeper. And for somebody who is a manifesting generator who likes to move, this felt challenging, but I was already prepared for it. And I intentionally leaned into being the, what I call myself, the invisible coach for this year and playing with the energy. So I took a playful approach to it so that I wouldn't be frustrated, right? And now, right now, where I'm sitting and can look back in hindsight and see all of the manifestations and how differently I manifested, I can say it all makes sense. Even what has unfolded in my life, in the people in my life, I can see why it made sense for me to be in a timeout, to be in a period of mastery. And it's so magical now that I can look back. But as I was going through this year, you guys, it felt like a major shedding, which, hello, year of the snake, but a lot of grief, pockets of grief, of letting go of old identity. And for me, the best part of this sort of timeout, so to speak, and kind of being the invisible coach behind the scenes that unfolded was what drinking my own medicine. What I always tell my clients and people who come into my world, which is the best way to manifest and become your most magnetic self manifester, is to lean into all of life and to actually make the mundane magical. And that's exactly what I did. And I could even hear my own voice in my head as I was like, you know, baking a cake, for example, and I'd be like, oh, maybe I should be doing something for my business. No, bake the cake, enjoy every minute of it, be so present. And then the magic that unfolded from that presence and from really anchoring into all of life was really, really beautiful. Then, as we're entering into 2026, which is the year of the horse, and it's a fire horse, which, by the way, begins in February 17th. That's when we enter the year of the horse. So you still have some time at the beginning of the year to do some shedding and releasing and letting go of what you no longer want to take with you. The year of the horse, the way I like to think of it is, again, it's really, really fast energy, which for me happened in my 40s. And it was not intentional though, because in my 40s I was learning, right? So now I can speak from the embodied wisdom of it. It was more of like fuck around and find out, but just like by throwing spaghetti, hoping it would stick. And I learned some really tremendous lessons the hard way, so to speak. And now, if you have the awareness around it and you know this energy is going to be let go or be dragged, because either way, we're all going in that fast direction, you can prepare yourself for this. And it's a time for planting seeds. It's actually an initiation year. The best way I love to describe the energy of 2026, because I lived it in my 40s, except it was a little bit messy and not intentional. Like I said, I learned some major character building lessons. 2026 is an energy of early preparation where you are going to start to see feedback, but it's still a threshold bridge year that is taking us into 2027, which is an exciting time because it is 2027 is the energy of sovereignty and embodied leadership and harvest. So there's a lot of great coming in 2027, but that 2026 is the preparation, particularly as it relates to nervous system expansion. Yes, nervous system regulation always, but particularly nervous system expansion. And you're going to still hear me talk about following a lot, but with intention. I say expansion because the energy is going to be moving so fast that in order to receive the light codes of your desires, expansion is required. A lot of people mostly focus on nervous system regulation and they forget the expansion piece, which the expansion piece requires you to lean into the edges of your discomfort, whatever that is for you. Now, here's the cool thing about 2026 energy though. What I love about it is that yes, it is a preparation year. Yes, we are going to start seeing results, but the cool thing is, and the important thing is to remove the pressure to arrive, because so many people have been in such a fog in 2025 that your ego is probably like, when are we going to arrive already? When are we going to get the thing? When are we going to manifest the success or whatever it is for you? Look at 2026 as the year where it is your playground and you get to play with all of the energy in whatever way your heart is feeling called to do while removing the pressure to arrive anywhere. So to recap, 2025 was the year of clearing, of identity shedding, of endings. If you don't already have my authenticity cleanse, I highly recommend you get it because it's going to help you clear those micro distortions that tend to linger. And we have until February 17th to continue to clear what we don't want to take with us into 2026. Then 2026 is the year of preparation, initiation, expansion, nervous system training for elevated consciousness and leadership for you to be able to hold all of the magic that 2027 brings. I hope this helped you, and I would love to hear from you in the comments what you're letting go of and what seeds you're planting in 2026.